All right, everyone, how are you? Welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included? Thanks for stopping by. On the show this week, I had a lot of fun. I sat down with the host of the Worst Foot Forward podcast, Rafe Grigar, and his wife, Stephanie. Right off the bat, we just jumped right into it, discussing such topics as hypnotherapy, childhood trauma and how we've dealt with it, personal issues in each other's lives, and just dealing with certain things. It was a very interesting conversation, and I'm glad they agreed to do this. It was also really good reconnecting with my old friend Rafe. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. If there's any episode I'd encourage you to listen to, it's this one. All right, guys, let's check it out. Tell everyone who you guys are.
Go ahead, my lady.
Oh gosh. Starting from when are we going back to?
Or who you are.
Who I am. I'm Stephanie. I work with Rafe doing pretty much everything he does that I can. I'm not musical, so I don't do anything with him. And I was like, I'm just gonna watch you guys talk on here, because I know you guys have a lot in common in the music world.
I was like, he's not going to make you make a chord or anything. To
No. I need you to pick up one. I need you to pick up one of his guitars right now.
Listen, he's taught me a little bit. I learned how to play a couple of notes from a Metallica song, which made me happy. He was like, "Oh my gosh, here, go have this," which was enough for me. I was like, "Check, did it."
Right.
I'm not musically inclined. I come from a background of hairstyling, ironically, which ended up being kind of a therapeutic setting. I didn't know that at the time. I just had a really good time talking to people, and I enjoy an immediate change, an instant gratification when someone sits in my chair versus when they leave. And so that's who I've been most of my life. I've done this for 27 years, and I love people. I like art. I spend a lot of time doing that in my extra time. We have 3 kids. So that was most of my last 2 decades, was being a mom and, getting people launched into the world successfully as adults. We're 1 down, 2 to go. That's been a really fun adventure. We both come from a background of, we've been divorced before and started together a totally different place, a totally different mindset than where I was when I got married the first time. And gosh, I don't want to jump all around, but like in a nutshell, just that's where I feel like, I started my development with growing and being self-aware, or, starting to peel back more layers. And then you asked about the podcast, like it's been really funny. Like since we met, we've been like, oh, when I found out what a podcast was, because I didn't even know. Rick had to tell me what the little purple thing was on my screen. I was like, that's been there the whole time. That's crazy. But when we started that, we were like, wow, this is a really great opportunity to tell our story. And that kind of got us to a point of like examining our own stories and our roots and where we came from. And, we are always having these conversations. Like you said, was it Lisa?
Yeah.
When you just are talking together and you're just recording and you're catching those moments that are authentic, you really do catch like the deepest, most significant meanings of conversations. And that's been a really fun aspect of this, is like, we have a plan of what we like to talk about, and then like what naturally comes out has been really fun, because it's like therapeutic for us, it's therapeutic for others. And then I can't tell you how many people are like, wow, this has been really helpful for me to process through, my parents' death or my divorce or like my fears of raising children.
And before we get too far into the podcast, let's finish the intros, and then you're also like certified, like you're educated in it.
Oh,
if you want to cover like what your degree is and in the direction.
Yeah. So, I was a mom for a long time. That was basically where all my time and energy went, and I loved it. It was blessing, joy, greatest gift of my life, was being able to like raise little humans and just see who they are. And so I made sure that I could work a schedule that I could be there for them and I didn't miss anything. And so after many, many years of doing hair, I was like, I'm going to go to school. And I was like, what do I like? What am I into? What can I do? Like limitless possibility. And I've just always loved the human psyche. I love human beings. It sounds bad to say, like, I love how trauma affects us and how we become the people that we are. And it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And, being one step into life from like just being my own person to like creating new life, and then watching them walk out the same issues that I did, and knowing that I can give them a little bit based on what I've gone through, and help them navigate through life stuff. That's just always been what I've been interested in. I like people, I like behavior. And so I went to school and got my bachelor's in psychology and neuroscience. And I mean, I loved it. And then I was like, what am I going to do with this? Like it's all fascinating, but like everybody knows you really need to keep going if you want to use it in the capacity that I wanted to. And then I stumbled across hypnotherapy, and which is really intimidating for a lot of people. They hear that and they think like, follow the shiny thing. You're getting very sleepy. And I mean, honestly, I'm just now getting to the point where I tell people about that, because normally they come sit down in my chair, we form a relationship, and they're intrigued by something. And then I'll mention it and they're like, what? Like, you can really do that? And what that is, I mean, it's become what I'm most passionate about now, is helping people heal their trauma, helping them dig through their trauma, some people have never even looked at it. Some people deny that it exists. Some people just put it behind them and try to move forward in life and believe that that's their way of dealing with it. And it can get us through for a while, but it's usually about this age, where things start popping up and you're like, oh, wow, like there's a pattern there. Or
why do I do that?
Yeah, why did I do that? Or like, man, I don't want to do that. Why do I keep doing that? Oh, why can't I do this? And so hypnotherapy really, it opened up this whole world where basically I've realized that if you can get someone completely undistracted from the outside stimulus that we have every day, like our jobs, our kids, our homes, bills, anything that's happening, like I also don't like to step on any toes. So there's going to be some people that hear this, and I would say replace the word meditation with prayer. I would say if that's offensive, to some people, then time with yourself, time with your highest self. Like that's basically what I do in hypnosis, is help them get there to a mindset where they can remove all distractions. And then we go down a little path of you leading me through some stuff that may have been written, on your heart that doesn't serve you. Some belief systems that you might have about yourself. Negative tapes that you might have picked up from people in your life, events that were painful or harmful that will cause you to like stumble in the way you function today in current relationships, even though that situation's not here. So it used to be used for to stop smoking, to not overeat, and to help with alcoholism.
Yeah.
And so as they developed along the way, they were realizing there's so much more you could do with it. And it's really just getting your ego out of the way long enough that you can address the things that happened or that you did. It goes both ways, to clear those things out, to really become who you want to be, and do it without shame, without resentment, without judgment, and on yourself as well, not just others. Like a lot of the times the things that hold us back is like the judgment we have for ourselves, right? Shame, guilt, all of that stuff kind of comes hand in hand. And then it creates this person that you're walking through the world living as. And sometimes I think when we get to a certain age, it feels like, I don't want that anymore. Like that doesn't serve me. And then we start to ask the real questions in life about like, who are we? Why are we here? What's my purpose? It sounds cliche, but I mean, we're all here to find that out. And some of us find it, I think, naturally. I used to be jealous of people that were like,
I know my mission.
Oh yeah, like, oh, my mom passed away when I was 6 years old. And I'm like, lucky you knew you wanted to be a doctor from that age. It's not lucky. It's not lucky. But in my mind, I'm like, it was a definitive moment that you knew, like, this is my trajectory. And I used to be so envious of that, because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
In the church world, it's like the dude that recovers from opioids. And I'm like, oh, I looked at a Naked magazine one time, and it's like not quite the testimony somebody else had.
Right. But it takes all avenues. And like, if I had to describe myself, I guess that's me in a nutshell, is I'm here on a journey figuring out who I am, and in hopes of bettering myself so that I can be the best version of myself. And as I've gone down that path, I feel like the people around me are more affected too. And then other people start wanting to do the same thing. And then people realize, oh, I don't have to hide that stuff. Like it's a safe place to heal and to acknowledge. I think like and this is just my perspective, I feel like a couple of generations back, you would say the word therapy, and it was like, shh, shh, shh.
Yeah.
We don't talk.
No,
We don't talk about. We don't talk
it's
about family stuff like that.
There's nothing
that's
wrong with
exactly right. Everything was taboo.
Very listen, I'm sorry that happened to you, or not acknowledging that it did, but we just don't talk about that. And
Yeah.
then the next generation up was like, hey, I'm not ashamed to say I've got some stuff going on. And then the most recent generations, like they're so aware. They're so aware. And I know they get a bad rap for, I think every generation thinks the next generation is doing something crazy and they just
Yeah.
can't keep up or whatever.
Which
But
generation are we in that?
I don't, you keep trying to put me in one. The kids call me a boomer. I don't really care. I just, I know I'm an old soul, but
We're 6 months apart, but she like definitely jumped on to like the older ship for sure.
But
Yeah.
I mean, he was raised with like a lot of technology. My parents got a computer when I moved out of the house. You know what I mean? We didn't have cell phones. It was
Yeah.
very different. I was raised by someone who was not in that world. And so I lean more towards that. Whereas Rafe, thank God, he knows how to do all of this, all of the wires. I'm like, I don't know what this thing is or what
All
it
the
does.
wires. That's
I really don't. I'm so grateful. I'm like, there's so many things in my life I'm grateful because of how different we are in that way.
You never admit that you know how to put up a PA system. That's the rule.
I don't know how to do that, nor do I. I mean, you could leave me in there all day long and I would never figure that out. Like, I just don't know anything about that world, but I do know people. And it took me a long time to give myself credit for that is a skill.
Yeah.
And learning how to value that.
It might be the skill.
Well, it's funny because growing up, I would think I had friends that were like, I'm going to go to school for this. And I was like, you love math that much that you want to go teach it. That's cool. I didn't have that. I could not think that people skills were something that you could use in life to, have a career. I really didn't. And then I fell into doing hair and realized like, man, I don't wake up and go, I want to do highlights today. I don't care about that. It's the people part.
Yeah, I think doing hair is similar to being a bartender. You
It's
are
exactly like that.
basically you're getting paid your fee, but doing something, they're getting 2 for 1, really.
Oh yeah.
They're
And
getting the
it's
service
interesting.
and the therapy.
Absolutely.
My saying has always been Steph could be the worst stylist, which she's the best, but people would still come to her just because of the experience that she offers.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that's me. I come from we'll get into all that. I'm sure we've covered a little bit on the podcast, but background in hair and then psych and then hypnosis is kind of where I've landed and I'm most passionate about.
Mm.
And Rafe.
You got to follow that up, Rafe.
I know, right?
Oh, he's so much better than I am at a lot of things, talking and flow and all that. I'll jump all over the place and lead you down some rabbit trails.
Compliment each other. Well, when you had asked us to be on, I was like, okay, maybe we'll talk about music. Maybe, I just kind of went down the list of things in my head. And so I listened to a few episodes with you guys. And at first I was like, I wonder how the hypnotherapy talk is going to go. And then I heard you say that you got a tarot reading and then quit your job. And I was like, it's going to go perfect.
I was like, bro, yeah.
So years ago, I've worked every job under the sun. I've never worked in food service, but when I got my first tech job in this industry, it was I was a single dad and I didn't know what I was going to do. I got a job offer and I was like, wow, this is really, at the time you think like this is financially, it's really good for me and my boy, but I'm leaving security of health insurance and I did. I never believed in that, but I that was my last resort. I went and had my cards read and this person said like, I believed her because she said, you're going to do well in this and people are going to accept you and you're going to advance. And I was like, that's all I need to know. I just need someone else to tell me.
But it really is all you need to know. Like whichever way you believed it is true.
Yeah.
If you believed you could. And so if somebody can set you out on that foot, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
To what Rafe said just now, like you could be not a very good hairstylist, but people would still come to you. I always tell people like, I may not be a great tech, but I'm a great hang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a good heart.
People like being around me.
Yeah. Truly.
What is it? I'm doggone it. People like me.
Oh yeah. Stuart Smalley.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It goes a long way. It really does. Anything, I feel like a lot of skills can be taught, but if people enjoy your presence and Gosh, if you're
Je
trustworthy.
ne sais ça, or
Je ne sais
je ne
quoi.
sais quoi.
Yeah. Well, it's funny though, because I met Rafe several years ago. I don't know if he
Okay,
even
I was
remembers how.
asking this. Where did y'all meet?
I bet he doesn't remember how we
No,
met.
I remember. I just want you to remind me.
I don't
I
know. So
he
somebody
was
tell me.
I
I
was selling some guitar pedals, and
Oh,
he reached
okay.
out to me on Facebook, and he goes, "Hey, I'll buy it if you meet me here." And I forgot where I met you. It was somewhere up in the mid cities, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
funny.
I was still living in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and yeah, I met this stranger, and I sold him some pedals, and I had and we I
was he a
remember I
good
couldn't
hang?
remember my PayPal password.
Oh, I know
Uh,
this game. Yeah, we've done this a
and
lot
then
in parking lots.
he added me on Facebook. He sent me a friend request, and that was it. I just kept up with him, and he
Oh,
was
that's
going through his
awesome.
CrossFit. He was really into CrossFit. Uh,
Hmm. That was right before we met. When we met,
yeah, it was
he
right
was
before you guys
right.
met. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how well I know him.
Oh, let's hear it.
And then he went through some hard times, and then
He did.
during COVID he started working with wood, and I was amazed of how good he was. Like he was buying planers and he was doing this, and you know I thought it was really great. And then the photography thing came around, and I thought, is there anything this kid can't do? Like to myself, is there anything this kid can't
Oh
do?
no,
And he was a
he's
musician
brilliant.
on top of that, and I knew he had I knew he was a faith guy. And like you've said on your podcast, you're not here to disparage anyone's faith, which I don't do either. Whatever one, I just feel anyone makes, whatever makes you happy, keep
Yeah,
doing that.
keep doing it.
Keep doing that. If it's this or if it's that. But I always thought, like he carried himself with grace, and he wasn't ashamed of that. But
Oh man, so humbling, man. But I like your version way better than mine, so we'll go with that. Uh, no, I was raised in a super conservative household, Pentecostal, if anybody knows what that means.
Oh yeah.
I saw you had the Toadies guys on. I feel like I've always had something in common with that, the
Yeah.
backslider
That was my
stuff.
first show ever, by the way. Butthole Surfers, Toadies, and Reverend Horton Heat.
Um, and so I was introduced to music really young through that experience because our sometimes our services were just like 5 hours of music. And so by the time I was 12, I had a guitar in my hand and I was on stage playing. And I had some like really good country dudes showing me the ropes early on with like multi-hour gigs. And like I don't think there's any better way to learn it than just to be there and start doing it. And
Yeah.
so you said a few times in a podcast that music was the thing that was always there for you. And
It
man,
is. It's the
that
constant.
yeah, it resonates with me so much, and so that's throughout everything I've done, that's always been the undercurrent, is like just riding this wave of music. And I've been so fortunate to be able to do it for like 25 or 26 years now. And so to some degree or another, I was full time at one point. I'm not full time anymore. Um, as far as music goes. Uh so it's but I still that's still part of my job. And so um yeah, I did the CrossFit thing for a while. That was interesting. I don't know what I was thinking that I needed to be a coach, but it was fun and I got like a whole family out of it. Got to meet
Sure.
Steph. And then woodworking is a blast, and I've downsized a lot, but just because I have a really bad tendency of turning hobbies into vocations. And so of course I just went like super ham on it and kind of burned myself out. And I'm finding I'm finding it a lot more pleasurable to go back into it with less of an agenda and more of like, what do I want to create? Um, and so in the last few years, some my best friends and I have started a songwriting trio. And
Uh-huh.
so it's the first time in my life that anybody's ever like made me get legit and like register with BMI and do the whole ASCAP stuff. And we've been in Nashville a couple times to record, and just really humbling writing with really good people. And I kind of found out that like I do love performing, but I love writing. Like it is so cathartic for me. And to hear other people seeing something that you wrote, I don't know if there's like a better feeling than that. It's just such a cool thing. And then yeah, and so I was getting really frustrated as a client, And I was dumb enough to say I should just get a camera. And boy, howdy, that was a life-changing moment right there. And so I got a camera, and I think that with everything that I had learned from music, it translated so easily to the camera that it just made sense. And
Yeah.
of course, I deep dived and did all the studying, and then it just made a lot of sense. And so I decided that I really, if I was, there's no way out of it. Like every discipline has the thing that they hide from you, right? Like woodworking is you work with wood 10% of the time, and the rest of the 90% you sand. And or I'm sorry, photography is the same as it's like 10% is shooting and 90% is editing. And so instead of comparing the two, woodworking and photography, I was like, if would I rather edit, would I rather sand? And I was like, I would rather edit. And that was kind of my determining factor for which to pour more energy into and which, to go, which direction to go. And so, yeah, I was super lucky. The people I work with are so open to me using my gifts, whatever they look like. And so like they literally created a position for me where I do like the videography and all of the stuff for our place. And so it's really, really cool. I'm super
That's
lucky.
amazing, man.
Thank
That's
you.
really cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Um, your podcast. So we have what made you transition? Like, because you were doing, it seemed like you were doing photography full time there,
Mhm.
for- you know.
In my head,
Um,
I was.
and then you said you've had this idea for some type of show or some type of outlet for your journey.
Mhm.
Like, when did you feel that time was right?
I mean, if I can speak for myself, like I had to get to a certain point of self-awareness and healing to be able to have a platform to stand on to offer
Yeah.
anything to or to see that I had something to offer to anyone. And so that was kind of it for me. I just realized I was like, oh, like I do feel like I'm old now, like you think you're young forever and you're like, oh my gosh, I do feel comfortable giving a 20-year-old advice. Like I have screwed up enough to know like
Yeah.
this might not be a good idea. And so, the realizing that like I have gone through some stuff, some good stuff and some terrible stuff. And like, um, if that and any of those painful situations, just like with you reaching out, if I can help anybody, then that pain means it meant something and that it's still healing. Like, right. Like it just continues that train of healing.
True. I think for me, we've talked about it for a long time, and it was probably triggered by, um, I would say, the first couple of years that we really dove into some therapies that really opened our mind
Mm.
and got us on a new path. It's almost like when you look at the arc of life, like you got to live it out first. You have to experience some trauma. You got to learn how to fit in. You got to learn the struggle of like fitting in, but also standing out and being yourself and being an individual. And like, that's kind of terrifying to think about being exposed and being
Yeah.
vulnerable and telling your story to people when you know that there's a whole cast of characters that were a part of that. And, not everybody's perspective is the same. And so for me, my limitation was very similar to when I thought, oh, I should write a book about some of my childhood stuff that was out there. And I thought, as soon as my mom dies, then I can do that because I don't want to hurt my mom. And then
Yeah.
I thought, oh, might as well wait. I should probably wait until my dad's not here to say something just because I don't want him to feel. And I found myself doing that. I should do the podcast. There's a lot of people in my past that like, I don't know what their perspective is and I don't want to offend anybody. And what Rafe does for a living, like trying to get the language right. It just was almost like, it's too much to try to balance. So we just didn't.
Yeah.
And then one day he was like, we just have to do it. We just have to
Yeah.
do it. We need to sit down and we need to record something, just record something. And he's like, let's just pick a topic. Let's do it. And it's funny. The first thing that we tried to do, ironically, we were like, let's just cover some stuff that was like interesting to us. And we were going to do one about the little girl that fell down the well. Remember her?
Yeah. Jessica,
Baby
right?
Jessica. Yeah.
Right. It was
Baby
like, man,
Jessica.
it was like a social thing. Like everybody was watching this little
Yeah.
girl. It was like so crazy. And like, we're like, we can cover that. And we realized, okay, we're not very passionate about that. It was a cool story, but it really didn't get off the ground. And he had notes. And I was like, maybe.
To quote my friend Bernie, I'm a habitual half-asser.
Hey, I heard that. But, part of it is I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not passionate about this. It was a cool story, but this was the first topic that I thought, oh, our lives, I know how to comment on that. And I'm
Yeah.
finally past the point of, it's not that I don't care what people think, but I'm finally at the place in my life that if someone were to be upset by something that I said or shared or revealed, then I'm at a place that I could handle talking to them about that and working that out. And, I think we made it very clear at the beginning of this, our goal is not to throw dirt on anybody. And like, we have whole past marriages with other people that obviously it was tumultuous. There was, some rough patches that led to some not fun stuff. And, we didn't want that to be the place to come here and be like, let's talk trash. Like
Yeah.
I got zero to say other
Yeah.
than I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the hard times. We have beautiful children that came from different people and they're made of exactly what they're supposed to be made out of. And like, I lean on that heavily because there's no point in having resentments and, um, not doing something like this out of fear that we would step on some toes, because everybody's toes can get stepped on at some point. And like, if there's an issue that needs to be addressed, then I feel like now we're at a place that I don't mind hashing out some stuff with people or them having questions for what I believe. And I love asking other people what they believe in and why and how it serves them. And like you said, if it makes you happy, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Unless you're hurting somebody, unless you
100%.
are hurting someone else, like, do you? Do you? And not in a hedonistic way of like, oh, it feels good, do it. But like, if it is serving you and you are happy and, you believe that, you're going to be weighed at the end of this and you'll go to heaven or hell, like, I'm sad about that. But if that's the way you live your life and you want to believe, then who am I to tell you any different?
Right.
If you believe you're going to be reincarnated, who am I to tell you any different?
Exact 100%, man. I want to talk about a couple of things from your show. Right out of the gate, episode 1, you guys are just an open book. Rafe, you tell a story about your mother, and it's very personal, and I can hear in your voice while you're telling it that, um, like you made your peace with that,
Yes, sir.
with that, and then when you see her for the last time and you talk to her and, you tell her, you're basically it's okay.
Mhm.
You know, I lost my mom in August, and the last words I whispered in her ear was like, "Hey, it's okay to go."
Oh.
Ooh,
And I had a very, very close relationship with my mother. My father, completely different story, very similar to you and your mother. Like,
Mhm.
it's a completely different story. But you said something that really resonated with me. She was trying so hard not to go to hell that she basically created her own hell.
Yeah.
And I find that a common uh it's very common with really fanatical Christians that
Hmm.
they're so worried about doing the wrong thing that they just are miserable,
yeah.
you know. Not to say
And
that your mom was miserable, but
no,
She
but she
was.
was. And what
you
does
know,
misery love?
you know.
Misery, just like joy wants to pull joy, make other people joyful, then misery wants to do the same thing, but misery seems to be a little bit more effective and easy to sell.
It's
Yeah,
mostly
I mean
because
that's the old term, misery loves company.
Yeah. And
Um
yeah,
but the way
that's
you ended that story was on forgiveness, and it was a really cool way to introduce. I mean, that episode right out of the gate, it's like, all right, man, gloves are off. Like, they're going to talk about anything they want. And to what Stephanie said, like, you were afraid to how it was going to affect someone if you brought up a story. Like, I during COVID, I reached a really bad time, and I started going to therapy. Like you
you're
said, I don't know
good.
how old you guys are. I really don't know, but I know what you said earlier. I'm 55, and our generation, like, especially being coming from the Mexican culture,
mhm,
That's
therapy
a
is
no-no.
off the table.
mhm.
Anything is off the table having to do with if you're not a macho guy, if you don't have this machismo, then you know
Yeah.
you're what they would say in a maricon, you know. But
I've been
uh,
called it several times.
and I what you said is like what I learned, or a small bit of what I learned was, hey, if your change, or if you talking about something affects someone else, that's their problem.
Yeah.
Like, you
Hmm.
have to fix you, and you have to really work on you. And if it's something just, like, hey, I didn't like what you said about me. Oh, I'm sorry that
Right.
you didn't like that, but that's your problem that you didn't like it. You know,
Yeah.
it
We
obviously
also,
stuck with me for so long that I brought it up. So it
right.
probably didn't affect me too well anyway.
Hmm.
But sometimes if you're the perpetrator, it really doesn't. You know, you move on, and the victim's like holding on to it for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
Um, oh, go ahead.
No, I know. That's good.
You know, I don't want to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, no, no. And so I really, you know, g- what is it about our generation that when you guys talk about the things you're talking about in the first, just in the first 3 episodes, that it relates to so many people. You talk about your kids and how you want to make them better. And like my goal with my son, like he's going to be 29 this year,
Oh,
and it's a big thing. Like every year, I'm not only amazed that he's a year older. Like this year,
Hmm.
it's already hitting me. I'm his dad for 29 years,
Yeah.
and I tried to do better with him than was done with me. And for me, it was breaking that cycle of just like, you know what, it's just going to be me and you, and we're not going to hang out here.
Yeah.
That the place that caused me my trauma, which just me saying that I have trauma is a big step for someone in my culture,
yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
But for me, it was like I need to raise this kid. Um, I don't want him to be raised to have to go seek help for how he was raised,
Hmm.
if that
Hmm.
makes any
Of
sense.
Yeah,
course.
we want to
And
make the least impact in a negative way on our kids that we can,
yeah,
right? I
I
mean, you're
don't
going
want
to
him
give
to
them,
recover. I want to give him a childhood he doesn't have to recover from.
ooh,
That's
that's good.
beautiful. That's a
You know,
song.
I'll follow that up with the Rafe did tell me one time because that was my number one goal as a parent. I was like, first of all, I tried real hard with my first one to make sure that, I swung the pendulum way over here. I was like, oh, you'll know exactly where I'm at. You'll never have to want for anything. I'll do everything for you. Your mommy's little baby, and I'm going to be the best mom ever. And, you learn you got to back that off a little bit because you create a little monster on the other side, just like you do if you completely traumatize them,
yeah,
or they don't know what it's like to struggle,
yeah,
and so you got to find the balance in there somewhere. But Rafe said one time when I was wrecked over, my kids have been disappointed in a way that I was like, I've been avoiding this my whole life. And, they still had to walk through that.
But when it's out, like 100% outside of your control.
Oh, yeah. Cause you're like, I can only do my part. I can only do my part. And like, I can't make up for this thing that they're experiencing. And Rafe said, who are we to deny our kids a wound that could be potentially turned into their greatest superpower? And I was like, okay, okay. Like they do have to experience something, right? Like we didn't come here to have perfect, easy lives. We came here to have an experience. At least
yeah.
that's what I believe. That's what I believe. And so, like, kudos to you for wanting to, first of all, acknowledging and being aware that you can change your child's upbringing and do different than what you were raised with, because not everybody knows that.
You can look and just see they're like, oh, this is what I was taught. I'm about to dish it
Absolutely.
on to you.
I remember people saying, my mom beat my ass, and look at me. And I'm like, yeah, look at you.
Yeah,
Look at you.
yeah, it's I think folks tend to believe that you know, it's well, family's family, and but some people realize, some people, I'm gonna speak for myself. I don't drink or party or anything. I think I took my first drink when I turned 35,
Mhm.
34. My last drink when I turned 35. Maybe drank a couple of times
You didn't miss
in that year.
anything.
Huh?
You didn't miss anything. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
no, I didn't. But for all those years, I did it. That was my way of rebelling.
Mhm.
So everything my family's, I just kind of, I needed to distance myself from that all my life. So I knew once this little boy came along, I thought, well, I got to keep them. And I'm not saying my family's full of monsters. They're
Of
not,
course
but I
not.
got to keep them from that. I got to keep them from that because that really affected me in a negative way. Seeing things little kids shouldn't see, being in
Yeah.
places little kids shouldn't be, and I just wasn't going to do that. Now, I wasn't a helicopter parent by any means, but
Absolutely.
I think my kid heard the word no more than any word in the vocabulary, growing up together, me and him,
Yeah.
Uh, can I get that? Nope. can you do that? No, no.
Nope.
Even now, like, but I see now that he's a good person. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of the adult he's become. He's got a good head on his shoulder, and I still beat myself up and say I could have been a better dad.
Oh,
Oh,
I
go
could have
ahead.
I could have done this better. I could have done this. Maybe I
But
shouldn't have been the road guy that I was, but this life afforded me to be home when I was home with him, be home
and be
24/7,
and be present,
be
right? Because there's a
present.
difference between being
Yeah.
home and being home.
And
Um,
and and he understood that's just what I do. That's my job. But I still say, like, you know, I could have done better. It's like that scene in Schindler's List at the end when Oscar Schindler is really upset about he could have saved more Jews, and
yeah,
he gets his ring and he takes it off and he's like, this is two more people I could have saved. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, I
yeah.
could have done more.
S-
But
yeah. I mean, as someone who that resonates with, greatly, because my whole shtick too is like I didn't want to have kids personally, because I thought that if there was a 0.5% chance that I could perpetrate what was perpetrated onto me, then I was not going to roll that dice. And then, of course, the universe has different plans, and
snuck three in there.
yeah, I don't know. Um, and I remember the night that I found out that Zeph, my son was going to exist, and like I walked around the neighborhood for like 4 hours because it was just a weight. I was like, oh my gosh, like I've on some level called something down from the ether from heaven, and like I'm responsible. And it was like nothing I'd ever felt. And I remember, isn't that the ironic part though? Is the difficulty of parenting like the difficulty of anything in life? It's the balance between neglect and helicopter, right? Like, and you have to be aware of what that looks like in your own kid and what that looks, how to speak to him and teach them how to be soft and what grace looks like, but at the same time, like teach them what consequences look like.
yeah,
And what a delicate dance. But like, man, I would encourage you. You were the dad that you were supposed to be at that time, and like whatever that guilt looks like, it's not serving you or him, but like you already are the better dad. And so like, man, forgive that other dad, whatever he had going on in his life. He had stuff going on, and so don't be mad at him. You were exactly who you're supposed to be.
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And something that came out to me when you said that, like, I think we have an ideal image of ourselves that we should be the best version, and that you don't want to make any mistakes with your kids. You want to give them the best. You want them to have so much more than you did, or less than you did if it was something that was catastrophic to your character development. Um, but to me, I've learned to stop looking at it from just the existence in my lifetime. So you think of like being a parent from the moment you became a father, right? And then you do all of this work, you make your mistakes, you grow, you have to have patience for yourself. We all know that we've like screamed at a baby when they're losing their mind and you're just like at your wits end. We've lost it. Some people hurt their children because they're so upset. Some people just scream and feel guilty. Like there's a spectrum with everything. And I feel like when we stop looking at it from just a perspective of when we started parenting versus when our parenting ends, and looking at it from a generational standpoint, like look at the growth that your DNA has had from your father to you. And then how much more so do you think with those little moments of that you're not super proud of, how much more so will your son step up and be a better dad in those areas because he saw a need there? So I look at it as we're either shown an example of what to replicate or we're shown exactly what we don't want to be. And so,
Yeah,
like, he's going to look at everything you did and he's going to say, wow, I love that my dad made sure he was there for everything. I sure
yeah,
wish I had more. I wish I could have. I want to give my kids more because, some people sacrifice being present. They sacrifice money or, presence,
yeah.
presence, not present, but not presence. And looking at it from a gift of like, wow, even my shortcomings will be some gifts to him in his life as he goes through his journey of being a dad. You give him the foundation of what he wants to be. And you've probably shown him a few things that maybe, I don't know, yelling when you're mad or something. I'm never going to
Yeah.
yell at my kid. And then he's going to yell at his kid for the first time and go, oh my God, I'm just like my dad. Oh my gosh. Oh, but my dad's awesome. Hold on.
Yeah.
And then you get to watch, instead of it just being black and white with everything, we get to swim in the gray areas of parenting and hope that you're doing the best thing that you can and hope that you're giving them the best that you can, but also giving yourself grace for the things that you didn't know when you didn't know them.
Yeah.
If you knew it and you didn't do it, like, that's a character flaw, it's different. It's an immaturity when you don't know and you don't do, and then you learn that you should, and then you do. Like, that's growth. To me, at least. I try to give myself grace because I used to beat myself up about parenting all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And we all do. We all, parents, I think all parents beat themselves up. If they don't, then their kids are really screwed. That's
If you
in
think
my
you're doing it right.
experience. If a parent is like, I'm perfect, my kid's perfect, like something's going to happen.
Yeah, that
Something's
kid's a
going
serial
wrong.
killer.
And if I
Yeah.
mean that's just my opinion.
Oh, I agree. I
You know.
agree. It's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wrote a song recently that, you know, in the along the lines of that first podcast, like with the moment I saw my parents as the maturity levels that they were, like age wise, and I was like, oh, it was literally just kids raising other kids. Like that usually doesn't equal an amazing result, but like being able to love them from that place of like you literally can't teach what you weren't taught, and you can't give what you never got.
Yeah.
And but like that makes it easy for me to like forgive them for their humanity because I'm like, oh, you weren't withholding from me, you just did not know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last real conversation I had with my dad was, "Hey, man, I'd quit trying to be his son. I'd quit trying to be his friend, and I just said, hey, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. I feel um, I carried it for so long that he owned that part of my brain
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that I
familiar.
finally just said, like, dude, you were dealt the bad. You played the hand you were dealt the best
Mm,
way you could, and hey, I can't fault you for that, but I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
There's no more of me trying on this side.
look
Yeah.
at the example you're setting.
Yeah.
Huh?
Look
I'm
at the
sorry.
example you're setting.
um, on your what are you trying? Is this show more of a is it therapy for you guys? Is it a form of therapy, or are you, because I think when people listen to it, I was yeah, I've gotten to episode 3, creating the life you want, and Rafe talks about uh ketamine therapy.
Mm.
Hmm.
Like, are you talking about things that could possibly help other people, or you just want to share these things, like put them out there for yourself? Like, these are conversations you guys have in private. You're like, hey, I think someone might want to listen to this.
It's definitely a both and I think um there's so many people that just aren't aware of different modalities of therapy, and they're whenever it's suggested to them they see themselves sitting on like a leather couch in like a stuffy office, and that's just not been the reality that I found with therapy. And man, the reason that I went to therapy is because someone told me that I was crazy, and I didn't have the backbone myself to say no. I was like, probably. And
Option.
and going to therapy, and she's like, you're absolutely crazy, but in none of those ways, right? Like um and so, but like the freedom that it's given me to be able to have conversations with people and not have my ego wrapped up in like, no, I have got freaking problems, and like how that disarms other people to talk about their problems. That's a lot of my hope, is that like, just like you said, like when you name it, when you can speak it and not like, have a reaction, and you can teach other people to do that too. And so, yeah, I think it is kind of fun because people are like, oh, you guys are like an open book right off the bat. And I'm like, I just don't have energy to be anything else, man. Like I wasted so much time, like ignoring my problems and not being aware of my problems, playing small, to being afraid of God, like whatever I perceived that to be at the time, that like, I just, yeah, I feel much more obligated to pass that message of help and healing and health on, because I think that will directly affect our world and the world that our kids grow up in.
Yeah. Being
And
someone of faith, have you found yourself falling in and out of it
oh
throughout
yeah,
your life?
Oh yeah. So I got sent to Bible school because to fix me, and it just undid me. In a great way. Like I'm so grateful. And so, probably for a while there, like if I had to give myself a name, because that's what we love to do, it would have been like a secular humanist, Like
Hmm.
I just wasn't sure where to put God. And then, ironically, after ketamine therapy, I was like, oh, I very much believe. I just don't believe what I was told. Um,
Wow.
and so, and in that moment, uh, the irony of like finding my faith again, but like finding a way that I can be authentic in it, and finding a way that I don't have to apologize for it. And I just couldn't engage in anything that was inauthentic to me anymore. You know, I can't. I don't want to play games. Like I want stuff to matter, and if I'm going to invest in it, I want it to matter. And yeah, that's it for me. And so like, man, I love the body of faith that I'm at. It's the most, I couldn't participate anywhere else. I don't think it's the most real. Nobody yucks anybody's yum. Like nobody's asking questions that are none of their business, which has been like the church's problem for a couple thousand years now. But yeah, I love it. I got to find my faith again, and I got to engage authentically with it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think your question was, why did we start the podcast?
My bad.
No, you did great. No, I wanted to get back to that point because I think, yes, it's therapeutic for us. Yes, we want to share it with other people. And I can only speak for myself on my side of that. For me, it's I think there's different modalities that will speak to different people. And like you said, some people don't know what's out there. Some people are like, oh, I'm not going to. I went to a large group awareness training. We talk about it in one of the episodes. It was a fantastic training. You basically go in and you clean out your emotional closet, whatever that looks like. And I got so much from that. It grew me. It was like the first layer of the onion peeled back to be like, maybe I do have some stuff I need to look at. I don't know. And then, all that involved was talking to a big group of people that also had issues. And then I went to some couples therapy in my last life. And I got a lot of good tools there. And I was like, okay, this was really good to help me learn how to let go of this thing that I thought was going to be and now move on to something new. And then we did a ketamine therapy session. And same thing, you have these profound experiences where, for me, I grew up differently. So in my stuff, it was not figuring out where to put God, but like what God was. What does that even mean? Um, and digging. And when you dig and dig and dig through other therapies, it's like finding something. And with ketamine, it was like this unveiling that just shows you the truth of honestly whatever you're looking for. You can go in with intentions, and we can talk about that at another time if you want. But seeing how powerful that's been and how much it's changed my life, I can tell every single person that I encounter every day if that conversation comes up. And that's one person at a time. And that's enough. It's enough just to one person at a time to know, hey, it's okay to go to therapy. Hey, there's this big, large group awareness thing. Or, hey, I know a guy that does EMDR. Or, hey, I know a place that you can do ketamine therapy. Hey, I know a place that you can go out into the middle of nowhere and have a healing session. And it might speak to someone else's heart. So getting on here and saying it to a large group of people, hopefully, my hope is that more people will become aware and awaken to the idea of like how important it is to heal our stuff before we exit this life. It truly, like whether it's just for you or it is for your kids or it is for generations to come, when we do the work to heal ourselves, we change generations. If you get a hold of your
100%. Yeah.
alcoholism, you get a hold of your alcoholism, your child watches you struggle, there's a large chance that they're going to do that too, unless they see you heal from it. They see you change. And then you offer another possibility for them. Like to me, that's what this is like whatever we're talking about, whether we're dealing with death, we're talking about different therapeutic modalities, we're talking about religion, we're talking about God, we're talking about atheism, we're talking about what happens after death, we're talking about like how to raise kids, like whatever it is. I hope that somebody can say, oh wow, like I've been in that situation there's a chance of hope. There's a chance of like another alternative instead of just feeling like you're on a one-way track to whatever your parents gave you or whatever environment you grew up in or whatever your DNA says that you're going to be, or whatever diseases you're destined to inherit. Like we can change that stuff. We really can change that stuff. And if you don't believe that, you don't even know that's an option. You'll go right down the path.
If you don't believe it, it certainly won't unfold for you.
Yeah. Like, Rafe, he says it that way of whether you believe you're right or wrong, or you believe whether or not you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And that has always tied into, for me, when I'm doing a session with somebody, I always say that saying, and tell me who said it. I think, therefore I am. My brain's going blank. But I think of it as, instead of I think, period, therefore I am, period, it's I think blank, therefore I am blank. I think I'm unworthy of a healthy relationship, therefore I am unworthy of a relationship.
Yeah.
I think that I am, who is it?
Descartes.
I think that I am worthy of a beautiful life, therefore I am worthy of a beautiful life. Like, instead of periods, put a blank there and fill it in. I believe I deserve a job that I can travel and make money and still be present for my son. You heard that from someone else, and thank God you were able to hear that and accept it, because a lot of people would say, I don't know her.
Yeah.
Right. What the heck? These stupid cards. But right? Like, these stupid cards somehow can tell a truth that matters. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If we even talked about that on here, like, do you know how many people hear the word tarot and they're like,
yeah,
that's devil stuff right there. And I'm like, who told you that?
Well, it's funny because I knew the person that did it. I knew them very well, but I also knew the kind of person that they are, that they're very, a very safe person. Like, I'm not going to take any chances on myself.
Like, come on, bro, just do it.
By her saying, like, no, you should do this. If you you should do this. If you decide to do this, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's a cool answer, because there's no pressure and no like magic. It's like, if you follow through, then you're going to be successful. Imagine that.
A little consistency.
When you guys are deciding to record an episode, and I love the last two episodes I've listened to, they were like, well, this is the second time we've had this conversation.
Oh yeah.
When you guys decide, do you decide on the topic beforehand, or is it come flowing, or is there a topic that you talk about that you haven't worked up the nerve to cover?
Oh, that's interesting you said that. I'll let Rafe.
No, go ahead. I've talked first so many times.
But I know that when he first came, I was like, okay, so make a list, like things you want to talk about. I'm very hands off. I'm like, let me show up and just like, let me show up and be there. And Rafe is very much our organizer. He does everything. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so grateful.
Hey, let me tell you, it's a scary place when I'm the organizer.
Well, there was a time in our relationship where he's like, "You're steering the ship, right?" And I'm like, "Bro, you don't want me doing that." So we work well together. He has strengths and I have strengths. So, but he is very good at all of this, like the setting up of microphones, the making of a list. I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants, have fun, and show up. I'm learning how to help out more though when I can. So,
and it's funny you mention those episodes having the conversation for the second time, because even in the episodes talking about self-forgiveness, and you know what it is being a musician and recording, and like we talked for 2 hours and like I cried.
And you're like, can't reproduce that.
Like and like playing it back, and I was like, oh, I messed up that one setting. I didn't turn the interface onto stereo, and it was still on mono, and Steph's voice isn't there, and it sounds like I'm talking to a ghost. And then like getting so enraged at myself and being like, I just talked about self-forgiveness. I have to forgive myself I made a mistake. This is new to me.
And for me, it's interesting because like I don't care. Like it's not a waste of time to me, because I'm like, I'm gonna sit here and talk anyway, and I don't mind sitting here talking again. But the authenticity of it, we want to be there. But he's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to waste your time with that. And I was like, it's not a big deal to me. Like I'm here for the whole process.
Yeah.
If it were up to me, we'd be doing this 12 times. So I'm grateful for like one mistake and let's redo it. It's not a big deal. I have a lot of room for grace and understanding. Like I've raised children, so that's not, I try not to get very frustrated very easily.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just grateful that he knows how to do all this. But we did have a few episodes that we recorded that we haven't released yet because it is a little bit of sensitive subject on a topic that there's some people that believe it's true, some don't. And,
Yeah.
it was such a powerful spiritual experience that we were like, we want to get this recorded before he forgets,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
just like anything, when you get excited about something, you get all these ideas and you can write it down, but like the passion of it was there. And I was so excited for him that he had this experience. He was like, let's just record it. We may not even release it yet, but it was important to get it down. So yeah, there are some things that we've talked about that I'm like, not fear, but like, is everybody ready to hear that?
Yeah.
Like, and what that's going to open up. And I'll
Yeah.
let him
Well, no, I
tell what he
mean,
wants to tell.
just you had talked about podcasts that we're afraid of. I think we just have like a few initially came up with like a few boundaries of like, okay, we're not gonna like actually there's rarely ever any contention between us, but like we're definitely not gonna do any like live problem solving or
No,
like
no.
hashing stuff out. And anything that could just be like considered, over the I don't want to be I love being open and honest about sex, but I don't want to be salacious, like I don't
Yeah.
want that to be why somebody would tune into us.
And also,
Well-
like, we're very open with that. Like, we want couples to know that's normal, it's good, it's healthy, it's a beautiful thing, and like it's not talked about enough. But I don't want we have a lot of really good stories where we've done some therapeutic stuff where that comes out and like it's a significant part of a session, and it's beautiful, it's connective, it's magical, it has changed my life. And I'm like, it's not that I don't want other people to know about that, it's just it's so sacred to me. And I'm like, we can touch on it, we can share a little bit, but like I don't want people knowing those intricate details because
Yeah.
that is in the bubble. So we put some boundaries around some things that we're willing to touch on without, like, being honest without offending, being
Yeah.
inclusive as much as we can with language, not shaming, not judging. Also, I don't even know how to say it. Like, when we go places, people will say like, "Oh my gosh, you guys just have like this energy about you, Oh, you can feel it when you guys are in the room." And like, I always thought like, well, you should like your person. It should feel that way. But realizing that's not really common. And, especially in the world that we live in today, it's taboo a little bit unless it's fun and sexy and wild and crazy, or it's like hush hush and it's shamed. And I'm like, there's so much in the in between. There's so much like beautiful magic that happens in a sexual encounter. And like when you connect and you love each other and you can talk and you are open. And we've had sessions where we're working through some pretty hard stuff. And like that's also a part of it. And we want people to know that's a possibility and it's real and it can be healing without being completely like,
Yeah.
here's our bed.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
And then, and just not trash talking our past. Like we've done enough growth and it's not hard for us. I don't have a desire to.
No, I'm not like 5 years ago I'd been biting my tongue. So that might be another reason we didn't start.
But thank God for ketamine therapy. I was able to see a session where I was able to see my children's father and all the things that I would normally be like, that bothers me. I saw the beautiful parts of my children that they got from him.
Yeah.
And I was like, how could I ever even feel a negative emotion about that experience if it brought along these two people
Yeah.
that are made out of and so instead of just being like, I can tolerate him and not hate him, I was able to say thank you. And like that's huge for someone to be able,
100%.
you hate your ex. Lots of people hate their ex. It's like a lifelong, mission to like poke each other as much as you can. Like that's pretty common, and we just like it to not be common, And I don't have a good working relationship with my ex. It has nothing to do with him. It's I don't want to carry negativity. I don't want to show my kids that I don't talk trash about him. There's no goal. There's no reason for me to do that.
Yeah. You just, yeah.
I think there's also just like what's the word? Like there's this like an ongoing social acceptance of like, oh, men are so stupid.
No, it's just like
Aren't they?
like a trope.
Yeah, I
But
hate
technically,
my husband.
we are.
No.
We're just dumb guys.
Well, see, and if you say that, that's fine. But when I hear a woman say that, I'm like, I've got a lot of men in my life that I love and respect, and like I don't feel that way. Or for women, it's like, oh, women are so naggy. It's like I don't like those
those
blanket
stereotypes,
statements,
those just, yeah,
stereotypes.
that's,
I'm like, you
yeah,
can like your partner, it's okay. And if you're getting to a point that you don't, man, you got to do some work. You
yeah.
got to do some work.
It is such a trope. Like the amount of times we've gone to like parties, which are like look a lot different these days, but like, and the amount of times that like,
I'm like sequestered to the closet so we can talk trash about the husbands. And I'm like, oh no, I like mine. I like him. I'm gonna
and
go.
the guys are like, let's go outside and drink and get away from these ladies, and I'm like, what?
Mm,
I kind of want to stare at her, honestly.
bitches, am I right? He's like, no, like we like each other.
Well, that's one thing I do appreciate about your show, um, is you guys have this connection. And like if you don't say anything about like, oh, this is the second time we've recorded this because this happened, it still felt very natural. And you guys have this connection, the way you talk to each other, the way you communicate. It's almost it's almost like there's not a care. Like, I don't care if anyone's listening. I'm enjoying this conversation I'm having with Rafe or I'm enjoying this conversation. This is therapeutic for me. This is helping me. This is fun for me,
Mm.
which I appreciate that. I listen to these episodes and I'm like, wow, this is really, it doesn't sound rehearsed. It doesn't sound bullet pointed, you know.
No, we
Um
want it to be natural. We want it to flow. We want it to be like you're having I can't wait. This is like one of our first times engaging with someone else. And so I'm like, I can't wait to have that moment where we get to bring our energy and engage with somebody like this.
yeah.
This is really fun too.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad you guys agreed to do this because
Absolutely.
um what's a mistake that you actually are grateful for now?
All of them.
All of it. I'm grateful for every mistake I've ever made. I can tell
Yeah.
you that. Like, there's been some therapy modalities that I've engaged in where I'm able to scroll through almost like pictures in my life. In one session, I was walking down a hallway, and there were little snapshots on the wall, like framed portraits, but just scenes. And as I was walking, I saw things that I was like, mistakes I had made, choices I had made, good, bad. And then I started realizing some of them were familiar and some of them weren't. And it started going back faster and faster and faster. And when I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, what did that mean? But it was almost like little snapshots of my life, like the future, the past, all of it. Some I recognized, some I didn't. And I was able to just accept every decision that I made, because you're like, it got you where you are. It got you right here where you are. And
Yeah.
so if you're not happy with where you are, then that's great. You can start today making different choices. You don't have to walk this path out. I mean, some decisions have longer consequences. You make a decision to have a child, you've got a good 18 years of responsibility that come in your way. But if you take a job that you don't like and you're off track for 6 months, it's a different kind of choice. But it
Yeah.
still maybe got you to a different path of meeting someone else that opened up another door. I'm learning to not have any regret, and not any mistake is seen as anything other than like a redirection towards something that I should have been aiming for in the first place, or that my desire had changed towards. Some people would say like a first marriage would be a mistake. I don't see it that way. I chose exactly what I wanted for that person that I was at that point in my life. And I chose to not go to school until much later in my life, which I thought I was behind for a long time. I thought, I'm so old. I'm going to be the oldest person in class. And then when I get out into the field, who's going to want an old ass therapist? I have all those thoughts, all those thoughts. And then after some therapy, you look back on it and you say it all unfolded exactly the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, we have free will to come here and do whatever we want. You can create whatever you want. And so if you're making decisions from a place of just making mistakes and trying it out, that's good. You're sorting.
First pancakes, right?
Yeah, everybody's got a first pancake. You try it out, you get the mixture wrong, you get the temperature a little off, and then the next one you learn better. And I think unless I don't know, like if I had gotten drunk and hurt somebody in an accident, that would be a mistake that I would regret. But I'm sure it would also propel me exactly where I needed to go in my life to learn the lessons that I needed to learn.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things. I was really trying to think of a specific one, but um, yeah, I mean, I even shared earlier about like it wasn't my intention to call a child down from the ether, but like,
But we love him and he's here.
yeah. I mean, what a redefining. I would not be hey, I would never have stepped in as a stepdad if I didn't already have a kid, just because I'd be that much more
He's
terrified.
like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I'm like, here's two more.
So I mean, I think that's absolutely.
They got emotional needs, bro. Come on.
It made me feel like the Grinch. My heart grew 3 sizes.
For real.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting because even with that, where some people would call like, oh, what a mistake in my life, which I don't think he was obviously not a mistake. He's supposed to be here. He's exactly made out of who he's supposed to be made out of, and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. And then, Rafe and I have talked a lot about like our deepest struggles. And, I've heard and read throughout my research that our children are a physical representation of our karma. And if that's not a language that you use, then they carry the effects of our causes. Something that Rafe had struggled with was
I knew she'd cover one of my mistakes.
I was like, let's talk about yours. Well, I was going to tie it into mine, but I wanted to start with yours because, of how the timing that it worked out. Whereas Rafe growing up struggled with confidence and struggled with self-worth and struggled with feeling good enough.
Sure.
And you look at Zeph, and we should really post some pictures. I know you've seen because you follow his social media. Zeph doesn't have an ounce of that in him. He's the most confident, assured, like self-assured. Boy does not care. Like he just does him. And I was like, when you think of like, oh, they're so different. They're so different. Rafe's not super sporty. Zeph is anything that has a ball, a puck, a basket, a stick, a bat. Like he's great at it and he's going to do it well. And, when you look at it from that perspective and look at it intergenerationally, you can see like everything balances out. And, you were so afraid of creating a person that was going to feel the way you felt as a child and go through the same emotions and the disappointment and the depression. And I'm like, he does not have that.
Yeah.
So it's like by doing this work, even though the work wasn't done until after he was here, you heal that in yourself, you heal it in your children. And I would say the same thing with me. We'll move on to my issues now. I was very insecure. I would follow anybody. I just wanted to be included. I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be a leader. Just let me like hang out on the side and like be a part of it. And then my son was born, and he's a giant. He's a huge human being. He's just beautiful and awesome. He's here right now. He's in the army right now. But I looked at, man, he's such a sweet, kind, just sweet person. And like, I love who he is. He never wanted to disappoint me. Like he was just a little sweet, soft cookie, which he probably would hate to hear that. But
Yeah.
Well, he's in the army and he's a tough guy too. But then my daughter came along, and it was like, it's different when it's your boy and you're a woman. Like, you want him to be a good man. You want him to be kind. You want him to provide. You want him to have the desire to take care of a family. At least I did. And then, I'm like, success. He's a good person. And then my daughter came along, and like, she's the opposite of me in so many ways, or she's like the upgraded version of me in some ways. Cause like where I would do anything that somebody wanted me to do because I wouldn't want to let anybody down. She's like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Like same thing, my biggest fears of recreating someone that would be a pushover and not have boundaries. I'm like, wow, because of my kid's dad, the things that I was not good at, the things that I had not mastered in my life yet, were some of the qualities that he thrived in. Now, how he used them was up to him, but like my kids have that part of him. And I'm like, wow, how beautiful that it balanced that out to where my daughter, whose name is Echo, ironically, you think like a little repetition. She's not, she would challenge everything. She's my, well, how about this? Let's make this happen my way. And you can see like, wow, that's growth from even my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just really points out too that none of those traits that we think are negative are actually negative. It's just however you use it.
Yeah. You can be, where someone would say like, wow, you have great leadership skills. You can use that to lead people to victory. You can use that to lead people down a really dark path. But either way, like you've got leadership skills,
Yeah.
What are you playing with googly eyes for?
I'm just listening.
I still play with googly eyes. What are you doing?
Well, guys, I really appreciate you doing this. I enjoyed this conversation
Same, man.
very
Us
much.
too.
It was really good getting to know you, Rafe. Like I
Same.
feel like I know you, but to speak to you and to get to know you, Steph, like
Yeah.
where can people find your podcast and anything else about you that you want us to link up or promote?
Absolutely. You can find our podcast on iTunes and Spotify at Worst Foot Forward. You'll see a really beautiful lady in pink and then a dude wearing a suit on the cover. And you can we also have a Facebook landing page, but we're mostly I need to get on the habitual half-assing. We're lucky to be here, bro.
I don't even whole ass, so I'm not on there. So
And another big one is What the Light Showed Me. That's kind of our photography collaboration. You can find that on Instagram. And then if you want to hang out with me personally and also vis-a-vis me, Steph, you go to facebook.com/Rafe Grigar, RAFEGRIGAR.
Right on, man. Well, guys, I appreciate you doing this. Like I said, I really enjoyed this conversation. I could talk to you guys forever. It would have to
do
be
it again.
one, two, and three parts.
Yeah.
Man, anytime. And then if we could once we get a little footing, like we'd love to have you on as well. So
That'd be great, man. That'd be great. Now the most important question is, our podcast is called Is Breakfast Included? If we were having breakfast, what would you have?
Mine.
What?
Listen, I'm a little bit country. I like biscuits and gravy.
Hell yeah.
A lot. That was one of the first things that Rafe wooed me with. He pulled up we were meeting to go shopping somewhere, and he pulled up with biscuits and gravy, and I was like, what? This is amazing.
Mating call.
Yeah.
I think mine. I make a really good frittata with like some fresh stuff, and like it hits a lot of buttons for me.
I make a really good. What I learned was a frittata, but I thought it was a quiche, but it doesn't have a crust. It's one of the only things I know how to make. Rafe is the chef in the house.
How about you?
I like pancakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
They make me so sleepy, dude. I don't know how people start the day with them.
Okay, look, there's a place called
I'm not saying I don't nap after I eat my pancakes.
Yes.
Do
you know who Nate Bargatze is?
Yeah.
The comedian. The one where he's talking about, he goes, man, he goes, I love pancakes. I love them. I can eat so many. He goes, but afterwards I'm like, man, I do not feel good. And he goes, I'm over here telling my wife, I think we need new pillows. I'm not sleeping well. She goes, it couldn't be that loaf of bread with syrup you just ate, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. If I have pancakes, it has to be a day off so I can just nap most of the day.
Okay, listen, I'm going to put you onto this because it's amazing. There's a breakfast place. I don't know where you live. Where do you live?
Jersey,
Connecticut.
Oh gosh, you're going to have to come down here probably. There's a place called Exquisite, EGG, and they have a stack of fruity pancakes that will change your life.
Exquisite,
EGG at the beginning.
I'll take you. We'll take you.
Oh my gosh, yes, come down and we'll go because it is phenomenal. You can take a nap afterwards too if you need.
Well, guys, thanks so much, man. It was great talking to you.
Have a great night. We'll see you soon, bro.
All right.
Bye.
Right on. Rafe and Steph, host of the podcast Worst Foot Forward. If you want to check that out, you can find it anywhere you stream podcasts: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever else. I think Audible does podcasts now. Anyway, check it out. I highly encourage you to listen to it. Those two are open books, and the way they discuss these topics, it just flows, and it makes you feel like you're in the room and you can discuss it with them. Check it out. While you're online, check out isbreakfast.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Rate and review our show at Apple Podcasts, and make sure you slide on over to YouTube. Subscribe, hit that notification button, and while you're there, pick up some swag. All right, guys, I am done. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.